Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream. And tomorrow it's the big one, Spurs versus Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, a fixture that we never lose. In fact, we've never even conceded a goal at the Spurs Stadium, but things feel a little bit different heading into this game. 2 wins in 14 in the Premier League, 2 wins in 15 in all competitions. Things aren't going so well at Chelsea, and yeah, I don't think there's any confidence heading into this one despite our record, but we've got to hope for the best. Things have got to turn around at some point. We can't keep losing it, can't keep getting worse every single week. But it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens. We'll get into all that and other things, but we've kind of had to start things on a bit of a sour note, because obviously come out last night that Graham Potter had received death threats to himself and his children, which is totally unacceptable. I mean, it doesn't need me to say that, but you know, at the end of the day, people always take things too far. Like, it's fine to criticize what he's done as a manager or what he's done on the pitch, off the pitch. You might not like him, you might not like his methods, you might not think he's good enough. Let's leave it at that. There's certain lines you don't cross, and unfortunately, certain few individuals have crossed that line, and it kind of tarnishes everyone else. And you know, things are bigger. At the end of the day, it's just a game of football. I know it means a lot to us, and we love the club, and we get pissed off when we lose, and we don't like it, and we get angry. But it's just a game of football. Like, at the end of the day, like, Potter's got to go home to a family, children, etc. Like, he's got life outside of football as well, and it's like it's hard when you try, when things aren't going well at work. You take it home, and things probably don't go so well at home either. So it's like he's not just a football manager. He's a dad as well, and like, people got to take these things into account. But we'll get into it. I mean, delighted to be joined by 2 lads tonight. It's looking forward to this one, boys. First time we've obviously been united on the panel. We've been to a few away games together. Let's hope this stream goes better than our away games. I think we've lost all of the games that we've been to. Hopefully it goes a little bit better than that. But Alex, I'll start with you, mate. Obviously, I know you put a little video out on your Instagram, obviously up on Chelsea Fan TV as well. Criticism is fair, and it's part and parcel of being a football manager. But this is totally unacceptable. I mean, what were your thoughts when you saw this? Because for me, the sad thing is, I wasn't actually surprised, which is probably the worst thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's. I mean, you said it yourself. If you're not surprised, it kind of shows that it's almost a normality in these situations when players, managers, whoever is underperforming, they get these types of messages. Obviously, we know Graham Potter doesn't use social media, so I think he got emails. I think that was how most of it's happened, but it's still not pleasant. And I mean, people still criticize him for bringing it up, but like, what else are you going to do? I mean, he's communicating. I like the fact that he's communicating. I think in his last press conference, when he made a joke about being in a crisis meeting, I actually thought that was his best press conference he's ever done. Honestly, I thought it was hilarious. And on top of that, it shows he's actually confident and still positive, even if it's fake confidence, even if it's just for the cameras. Like, so be it. Like, fake it till you make it. We know he's not used to playing at this level. He needs time. But yeah, the fact that his family is getting involved and getting dragged into this, unfortunately, it's inevitable when you're working at a club like Chelsea. I mean, it's gonna, you're gonna get jokes at school. You're gonna have all these different things that you're gonna have to deal with. But nobody can really prepare you for that. So yeah, I feel for him. I felt for him anyway, because I think that he's had a bad run of luck in terms of the team generally, but to hear that that's creeping into his personal life, not just him and his family, I'm talking about other people getting involved with that, that's unacceptable. And that's why I felt I needed to address that on Chelsea Fan TV, because usually I wouldn't really make videos like that. I sort of stick to what I'm good at with the fan cams. Maybe another time I'll do more regular videos analyzing and breaking things down. But yeah, for any fans to do that, they are not fans. It's criminal. It's really horrible. And I was just shocked when I saw the notification. I don't think I can remember another manager having to go through what Potter's gone through. And if they have, not to the same level of hatred and just dealing with the things he's dealing with on a day to day.
it's because we're not doing well. Essentially, like, at the end of the day, like I know that's like an obvious thing, but like if your reaction to not doing well is to threaten to kill someone's family and their children, you've got something wrong with you. It's as simple as that. You know, we all want to win. We all want the club to do well, and you know he knows. Like he's said it himself. Like criticize is happy to take criticism when results aren't going well is part and parcel of it. That's what's going to happen, and that's fair. Criticism is fair. Abuse and threatening to kill people's families is totally unfair. I mean, Brendan, great to have you on the show, mate. First time.
Thanks, man.
It's a pleasure. What were your thoughts when you saw this? Probably similar to myself and Alex. I mean, it's mad that this sort of thing is still happening.
Definitely. I think it's becoming more of like a normal thing because social media is becoming bigger and bigger, obviously, in the modern day. And just by looking at that, I know people probably think, oh, I'm not going to get caught. And they see all these footballers like getting attacked and like threats sent to them and nothing happens to them. So they think, oh, okay, well, if nothing's going to happen to them, I might as well just do it also, you know? So,
yeah.
I think it's kind of it's a fake confidence sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like, these people would never say that to anyone's faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're behind a keyboard, they think it's fine.
Yeah. If that person who sent them that emails, if he saw Potter face to face and it was only them two, would he say the same things?
Mate, they'd ask for a picture. This is what I mean. Like it's so like it's mad, really. Like, and you know, fine, criticize the manager. Don't bring someone's family into it. You know, just like, you know, it's I don't understand it. You know, you think things can't get worse than a season of lows, and like I know on the pitch it's been poor, but this is another massive low point in terms of Chelsea's season, that people are actively sending death threats to the manager. I know this is obviously a small minority. This is not everyone. These aren't really proper fans, and it just goes to show that that those people that are doing that they don't support Chelsea. They only support winning. Like, if you can't support the club when we're doing shit, don't support us at all. That's when you need the support the most, is when we're not doing well. That's when you've got to dig in and get stuck in and support the team, and, you know, go to the trenches. Like, it's hard work when you're doing shit and you're going up and down the country every weekend. It's tough. Yeah. I mean,
mate,
Alex,
it's horrible, man.
It's bad, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt your question, but I just want to touch on what
crack on, mate. There. Yeah,
because I mean, we went to the Leeds game together and we lost 3-0, and although it was a cracking atmosphere, I mean, it was shite. It was just rubbish. And I can't think of a season where I've been following Chelsea, and I've been going home and away since Lampard, going to all the home games since sort of Conte's second season. So number of years, right? I haven't been going for 10, 20 years like some people. But, you know, the idea that we are expected to win is a standard, but it's not a given, right? And it's getting more competitive all over wherever you go. I mean, even if you look at the bottom teams at the table, I mean, look at Leeds, for example. They beat us 3-0 at the beginning of the season. They're in the relegation zone, or just got out of it. You know, so many clubs that have made it. Southampton, I mean, they've done the double over us. So everywhere you go, you're going to struggle. And you know, we're such an unsettled club anyway, always have been. And we've been happy with that because we've covered it, we've papered over the cracks with trophies. And now we're going to have to take 2 steps back in order to go 3 steps forward. And that being with Graham Potter, you know, it's kind of to be expected, this sort of behaviour. Now, the extremes, not so much, but the abuse generally speaking. But yeah, if people, the truth is that this is going to continue. I think it's going to continue for this season, next season, and however long this period of basically us being rubbish is. Because you look at Arsenal, it was like that for years, mate, and it will be like that for us. There's no positive spin to put on it, if I'm being honest, Charlie. I mean, I'd love to try and be positive, but
well, it's pretty hard to put a positive spin on a death threat, isn't it? I don't think there is a positive spin to it.
No, but when I say that, I'm not just specifically talking about death threats. I mean, I'm just talking toxicity in general.
Oh, yeah.
when the club's doing bad, everything's negative, and it's like that at Arsenal. It's like been like that at Man United for 10 years. It will be like that for us if we don't buck our ideas up. Hopefully, we do.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that was just Southampton at home, and it's got that bad. God forbid if we were to lose tomorrow, mate.
Yeah.
It'll be so much more worse than I think anyone could ever imagine. But I mean, Brendan, obviously things on the pitch haven't been going well. But I mean, what have you made of what Potter's done so far in terms of? I mean, the results have been awful, but what have you made of kind of his spell here so far? Because if we're being fair to him, and I know like people only look at the results, he's been dealt a pretty tough hand, and I think even a manager with a better CV perhaps wouldn't be struggling this much, but there would still be struggles.
No, definitely. I think there would be struggles, but he's been there for 4 or 5 months now, and I went to the Fulham game with Alex 2 weeks ago, and I said to Alex, I was like, 4 or 5 months later, I'm watching the team, but there's no style of play or identity we have, and that's a problem that I have with him at the moment. Is yes, behind the scenes could be tough, but at least there should be some sort of style that we're playing towards. Like, no matter if we've got injuries or no injuries, who's on the pitch, all the players should know what they need to be doing when they're on the pitch. Sometimes it just looks like they're playing like a load of individuals. So,
I mean, could you almost argue though that that's what we are right now, because so many new faces have come in. I almost look at this season as like 3 seasons in one. You got like the first part of the season where Tuchel was here, and you've got from Potter to the World Cup as like the second bit, and then we've got post World Cup. We've got a totally different squad than what we had before the World Cup. So it's like you've already had like sort of so much change within one season. I mean, it's I agree with you that there absolutely should be more of an identity. There should be more of an idea of how we're going to play under Graham Potter from what we've seen so far. But Alex, do you think it's also perhaps in slight fairness to him, it's pretty difficult to formulate a style of play and an identity when you've had so many players in and out the side through injury, and you've got so many new faces that have come in the middle of the season? I mean, you'd expect more, but to expect a clear identity I think that's quite a big ask.
Yeah, I mean, well, Graham Potter said it himself. Chelsea right now is probably the hardest job in world football. It's definitely up there. I mean, we have expectations like any club in the world. We expect to win, but we do not have the players right now. We did not have the players. Let's go like that. When Potter first came in. So what did we do? We tried with the players that weren't good enough. We got some results for a while, and then it went downhill from Christmas time. We had that break for the World Cup, which I think most fans were quite happy to have. And then we spent just silly amounts of money in January. So he's basically been given a brand new squad. I mean, he's lost Jorginho. All these new players coming in, Felix, Madueke, Mudryk, Fernandez, Badiashile. I mean, the list just goes on. So I'm still in the camp that he needs to get to know that squad. He's trying with that squad. It does look like we're creating more chances than we were. It looks like we have a little bit more quality than we did. And this is where, I was previously in sort of the Graham Potter camp, and then I was sort of on the fence after Southampton. I mean, Charlie, I was fuming. I was thinking to myself,
I was fuming as well.
I was thinking, what is going on? Especially seeing it. Oh, he was clapping on the sideline. Oh, I couldn't bear it.
The worst part there for me in the Southampton game was when Azpilicueta was on the floor. You see all the Southampton players stood by the manager and like discussing tactics and things, and then you've just got Potter sitting on a seat, like not doing anything. That's where I feel like he should be standing up, discussing a few things with the players, and just Yeah, just
Yeah,
trying to
no, I get
get
that.
something out of it.
I think that's totally fair, and I do get to a degree that I understand when people say, "Oh, he's not." He doesn't look like he's someone that would fill you with confidence from the sidelines, or if things are tough on the pitch, you look to the manager for a little bit of inspiration or a little bit of a G up driving the boys on. I look at Potter and I think I like him. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a nice guy and whatnot. But sometimes when you're in the trenches like we are now, you need to look to the sidelines. You need something from the gaffer. You need something. Obviously, you've got to demand that from yourself as well. Of course, you've got to have that internally in you to drive yourself on to do better and get yourselves out of tough times. And you've got to have your teammates as well that demand more from the players on the pitch. This is not acceptable. I look at Chelsea at the moment. There's no characters. There's no leaders on the pitch. Where are the leaders demanding more from the boys on the pitch themselves? Like, this is not good enough. This is Chelsea. We've got to do better than this. Like you wouldn't get this under when we had JT, Lampard, Drogba, Ballack, Terry, Cech and whatnot. Like, if things got bad on the pitch, those boys would let you know about it, and there'd probably be quite big fallings out. I just look at Chelsea and now and I think there's almost an acceptance that this is all right. It doesn't really matter. There doesn't seem to be, to me, any desire or motivation to try and put this right.
It seems like a generational thing as well, because JT's just a different breed, that sort of generation.
Mate,
you don't get players like that anymore.
He's Chelsea, mate. He is Chelsea.
No, he is Chelsea.
Yeah.
He is Chelsea. Of course he is. But I'm just saying, it's a different generation. Players just aren't. They're just not like what they were, which is kind of sad. But I also think it's kind of just to do with the way football's played now. I mean, you can't really get physical. You don't really have any. You can't really have any impetus on the pitch anymore. Everything's so technical and fast, and with VAR, that there's no edge. And I think sometimes that can take a little bit of the passion out of the game. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have passion. I'm just saying I do think it is a little bit different. And I think that the way Potter does things is different. I don't think he's the manager bounce type of manager. I don't think he's the kind of manager that comes in and instantly makes an impact. I don't think he's ever been that manager, ever will be, ever has been. Every job he's done when he's given time. I think the only exception you could say is Swansea. And he still did a great job with them. But that's in the Championship, right? So, let's not look too much at that. I actually read an article. I think it was at the beginning of this season or the end of last. It's completely random why I read this article. I was going to Man City away. And for some reason, I got the first train there. And I was like 5 hours early. So I just went into a coffee shop and bought a newspaper. And one of the articles was about Graham Potter, who at the time nobody really cared about because he was the Brighton manager. Do you know what I mean? He's not really in the headlines. Anyway, I read it and it was basically all about his struggles as Brighton manager and how he's pushed through, because they were going to sack him. Brighton were going to sack him. He's
a slow start. He's a slow starter.
Always has been. And this is the thing. Once you give him that time, he's able to make things click. I don't know why or how, but there's something about him that is able to drag through this process and somehow make things work. Now, it is painful. If it was painful at Brighton, my God, it's going to be painful for us. But I'm willing to go through that because we are in a rebuild, and that is what a rebuild takes. That is what a rebuild is. If it's just, I'm not seeing pro. Hang on a second. We finished top 4 under Conte. No, not Conte. Sorry. We finished top 4 under Lampard. We finished top 4 under Tuchel. Right. The process was with 3 different managers. So obviously that's not working, just finishing the top. Maybe you have to go out of those spaces to come back. I mean, we won the league when we didn't play any European football. That was a start. But no, with the new structure in the club, the new ownership, the manager needs time. And I believe that these results are going to be massive with Spurs, Dortmund, and if he loses them too, I mean, I don't know how you come back from that.
I mean, we're all for backing the manager, and like I think we've been, certainly myself and you, Alex, have been a lot more lenient with Potter than a lot of other fans have. But at the same time, I'm all for backing a manager and giving a manager time. But as I've said many times, like I've got to see something in return to kind of buy into and to continue to back. And at the moment, it's getting very hard to continue to back that. And you know, the owners have come out and said we're long term, etc. And you know, we want him to be here. That's great, but at some point, if you keep losing every week, there comes a point where, like, you either have to come out and owners and say, whatever happens this season, he's going to be here, and it doesn't matter. You either come out and say that, or it's going to be very hard for Potter to actually stay. I mean, Brendan, where do you think the cutoff point could be? Because obviously, the owners have come out and said they want him to stay. He's the guy, they back him, etc. And I think generally most fans want Chelsea to move away from the hiring and firing and think more long-term, have more of a stable manager in place. But where do you think the tipping point could be for Potter? Because we can't keep losing games. It's as simple as that. I mean, for me, if we lose tomorrow and we go out to Dortmund, I don't see how he can stay.
I just don't know with these new owners, because they've obviously said they want to give him a full pre-season and another season. So by saying that, in the back of Potter's head, he might just think to himself, okay, look here, they are fully backing me. Takes a bit of the pressure off, you know. I feel like no job in the world's got a security. Everyone has pressure on their job. And usually when you've got a lot of pressure on your job, you have to perform. And this is where I think they're getting it slightly wrong, the owners, by saying, we'll give them a pre-season and another season. So technically, Potter's pressure point actually starts in the preseason and next season. That's just how I see it. Do you know what I'm like? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know. Like, it's really difficult because these results are totally unacceptable, and we all understand that Chelsea's in transition. We're a different Chelsea now. We're not Chelsea as we were under Roman. We're trying to move away from that, become like, have a different identity as a football club. The standards will always be the standards, to win and to have the best in class in everything. That will always be the case. But right now, we're not hitting those standards. We're not in a position to hit those standards, and that's okay. There's no problem with not being at the required standard to hit the standards of the football club. That's the reality of the situation now. But I mean, Alex, for you, mate, where does the cutoff point come for you in terms of if we keep losing this season? Because it's all very well saying this is our guy, we back the manager, we're 100% behind him, but a few more bad results and more fan unrest, people don't ignore that. That doesn't get shut out and totally ignored. It's got a lot more power than people perhaps might think it does. Surely there's going to be a point where they think, well, hang on a second, how can we just keep backing this? Because you know, at Chelsea, you can't lose every week and just get away with it and say that it's fine. Otherwise, as I said, you might as well just come out and say this season doesn't matter. Whatever results we get, we get. Potter's going to be here next season.
Yeah, I mean, if we lose the next two big games with Tottenham and Dortmund, yeah, that is when really I think the owners would be saying, oh, that's when I think they'll start thinking about it. Because right now they're not even thinking about it. That's what we've. So actually, if you really want to think about it, if we lose those two games, he still won't get sacked. But then there's a big chance it'll be sacked in the next couple of games after if things don't improve. The thought will be there. I have to admit, I'm still in the Pottering camp. I have to admit.
I think I am as well, just about.
I've had time to think about it, because after Southampton, I was seriously not sure. But I think that he handled his press conference really well. I think he's handled the abuse really well. I also think that he'll come out against Tottenham, and I do believe that if we score, he's going to show us something. I don't know what it is. I have this weird glimmer of hope. I feel like because it's Spurs, I have to admit, I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think we can scrape something. I think we can scrape something out of this game. I'm saying a 2-1 win for Chelsea. I don't know who's going to score. I don't know how. I just think it's one of those games where the players I think the players are playing for him as well. That's another thing I want to just mention. I don't buy this notion that the players don't want to play for Potter. I can understand why they may not think he's as good as Tuchel because of what Tuchel's achieved and what he's done with the club. But I do think there is a healthy respect in, as some journalists have already confirmed. When you're playing at the top level of the game, you're a professional footballer and have been for some time. I think irrespective of who your manager is, if they're at a big club, they must be half decent. There's a reason they're at that big club because they have achieved, right? They know what they're doing. They've done good jobs. No one can look at Graham Potter and say he's done bad jobs with any club. Any club he's managed. He's done a good job with all of them. So, there's nothing to look at Graham Potter and say, well, this isn't good. That's not good. Right. Okay, fine. It takes a bit of time. But Jurgen Klopp, it took time. Guardiola, it took a season, right? Give the man a year. Give the man a pre-season. As far as I'm concerned, I have to agree with the owner's mentality. I think it's a great transition. I think it's a harsh transition because especially those old school Chelsea fans, that hate the fact that he just sits there and doesn't show a lot of passion, which I completely get. At the end of the day, if you don't want to show passion, that's him. But I want to win football matches, and I believe that the best way to do that is to trust someone and give them a chance, right? Because whatever happens, let's say we do get an Enrique or a Zidane, which probably isn't going to happen this season. Right, we may pick up results. We may finish in the Europa League. Top four's probably out of reach now, for being brutally honest.
Yeah, probably.
So then what? We go into next season with Europa League football and a squad that's still underperforming, and then that manager bounce is done. What happens when they capitulate? Because it's going to happen again.
Of course it is.
So we need to ride it out with Potter. That's the way I'm seeing it. Because if there's not a viable replacement, and the only viable replacement I think we can all agree is Tuchel, it's not going to happen.
That's not happening.
So
and like this is my point. Like, people that call for the managers to go, you're well within your rights to have that opinion. That's fine, and we can agree or disagree about it. But ultimately, like, it's never as simple as just sack the manager. You've got to have a succession plan in place. And I look at it and I think, right, okay, these owners clearly want someone that's going to be a long-term manager, a stable manager for a good few years. Like, what's mad is we haven't had a manager at Chelsea for over 20 years that spent more than 3 seasons at the club. That just isn't sustainable. Just not sustainable. We haven't.
Mourinho?
Nope, spent three seasons.
3.5.
We've had no one spent more than 3 seasons at the club in the last 20 odd years. That's not sustainable, and that's not going to be conducive to long-term success. Now, if you're going to replace Potter, right, and this is what I say to people that are Potter out, like, fine, no problem, but what's your solution then? Because people go, oh, Zidane, Pochettino, Enrique, and whatnot. Zidane and Poch were both available in September when Tuchel got sacked. They were both overlooked. They weren't the right guys then. They've done nothing since September. They're still unemployed. They're not suddenly going to be the right guys now. And then you look at Enrique. Don't think he's done that well. Don't really like it. Don't rate him that much. Obviously he was at Roma a while back. Was crap. Spain, I think he was shit at Spain as well. Particularly World Cup was poor.
He went to Roma.
It was at Roma, mate. Yeah, before Barca, I think. And then he was at Barcelona and he won everything with that team. That's not really a barometer to judge a manager off because, all right, you've still done it. But it's not. I don't think it's a fair reflection of someone's managerial abilities. But then you look at it and you think, right, okay, those are the 3 that are out, and you're not going to appoint a long-term manager in February or March time. So then you're going down the interim route, and then who do you get? So, like, I mean, Brendan, when you look at it, I mean, what's your position with Potter? Are you Potter out? Are you on the fence? Are you just in still? Do you think a change needs to happen? Where are you at with this?
Alex knows. I haven't been Potter in since the start. Obviously, I was very upset when Tuchel got sacked. But like one of the people there in the chat said, the owner stuck with the Dodgers manager for years before he was a success. So in 2012, they obviously got the manager in at the Dodgers, and in 2017, they won the league, and they haven't finished below second since. So that's all fine with baseball, but the thing is, we can't have that at Chelsea. Like, we can't have 2 or 3 average seasons not having European football.
Why?
Okay, so if we don't play European football for 3 seasons, which top players are going to want to come to us?
But we've
Mate,
got no European football guaranteed for next season. We've managed to attract a lot. I think the proposition. I get what you're saying, and I think it would be more difficult. But I still think like Chelsea, regardless, has still got a big pull. London lifestyle, recent history. I do get
Mate.
what you're saying there. It becomes a lot harder.
Whoever
You-
comes
you
to
did-
us, mate,
I think
no
the
one's going to
thing.
choose Newcastle over Chelsea, even if they've got Champions League football. If they have the choice, Chelsea wins. We have the pull
Okay.
power.
Okay, let's put it this way. Okay, the only thing pulling us right now is money. Our owners just splashing the cash.
Get those,
right?
I
pi-
love
get
it,
those,
mate. I
get
love
those
it.
pings,
Alex,
get those pings out.
Alex,
Get
listen
those
to this,
peas
okay?
out, man.
Alex, would you
Oh,
sign
I
for
love it.
Chelsea? Okay, just a question. Would you sign for Chelsea if you know you're not going to have European football for 3 seasons? Or would you sign for Newcastle if you know there's a possibility of you playing 2 seasons of European football and maybe winning an FA Cup or 2 FA
Brendan.
Cups? Who are you signing for?
Brendan, we don't know what's going to happen 3 years down the line, so I can't answer that. I can't answer that question. But look, if I have the opportunity to go to Chelsea or Newcastle, it's a no-brainer. And to be fair, don't get me wrong, like I actually like Newcastle. I think they're a good team, but you're so up north. And no, but like I mean, you're
It's
isolated.
fucking cold as well, mate.
Yeah, no.
It's a different way of life, and I can understand why some players want to go there. It's still a great club, but you know, if you really want to look at it, I mean, in England, you've got Liverpool, you've got Man United, then you've got Arsenal, Chelsea, sort of on that same next level. We're a top club. We're a big club. We've got power. We've got location on our side. We've got money on our side. We're gonna rebuild the stadium, the training facilities. There's nothing we can't offer that any other club can offer. You know, Tottenham Hotspur, they've got everything, but they haven't got trophies. We're gonna have everything and trophies, past and present, and we're gonna get them in the future as well. Even with Potter, I believe that you know if things click, we can start winning trophies because
But that's the thing.
this
If
club
if
has a
things
winning
click.
mentality, and we.
But yeah,
Hansi Flick.
this is a
What?
fair point though. Like, there's no guarantees. I'm desperate, particularly off the back of these death threats and stuff. I'm more desperate than ever for Potter to be
Oh,
a success here. But at the same time, I'm fully aware that he might not be the guy. He might not be.
But the thing is, right? How I see it is, how do we know other managers haven't received these death threats and haven't come up publicly and spoken about
Well, no,
it?
we don't know.
How do we know he's maybe not just publicly coming out to try and win some fans back?
Well, I think either way.
I know it sounds a bit harsh.
Yeah,
I mean, there's definitely some people that will think like that, but I don't know. I'd find it difficult. I don't think he necessarily would have brought it up if he wasn't asked about it. He might have done because it's a topical issue, and you know, you should. People always say, "I know you should speak out about these things more. You should talk more about mental health. You should talk more about these things." And then when he does, people then, not saying you guys, but then people then say, "Oh, he's just using it as a distraction from the results on the pitch," as if like. Yeah, I just think I don't really get that. But do you almost think, just moving away from that, Alex, do you almost think that there's a certain sense of kind of spoiltness and entitlement within the fan base that we cut because we've been so used to winning, like we have a massive tantrum and you know, get all angry at the thought of maybe not winning something for a couple of years. Like if you said to Chelsea fans, we're not going to win anything for a couple of years, but in the third year, we're going to win the league. A lot of people wouldn't accept that because they'd say it's unacceptable for Chelsea to go 2 seasons without a trophy. Like, it's like, yes, we're used to success. We've become accustomed to success, but this kind of spoiltness and sense of entitlement from a lot of people within the fan base, like, I get it. That's all you've grown up with and stuff. We've only grown up with Chelsea winning, but at some point that's going to stop. You're not going to win forever. So do you think like fans as well need to readjust their expectations?
Yeah, but the truth is, and I think you can both agree with me on this, it's not match going fans that are like this. It is fans that don't go to games. this is all Twitter talk that we're talking about. These aren't fans in the stadium. Okay, there are some fans that might swing abuse, but for the majority, we clap the players and we clap the manager and we cheer the team. And I've seen that when we lost 4-0 away at Man City. I've seen that when we've won games. Irrespective, we're pretty much always supportive as a match going.
Just
fan
quickly
base.
on that, mate. What was worse for you? Because you were at both games. What was worse, that the City 4-0 with the Tuchel and the Roman chants, or the Southampton game, the booze and stuff at full time? What do you think was more toxic atmosphere?
Definitely Southampton. Definitely.
Yeah.
Because at Man City, it wasn't toxic. This is the thing people don't realize. It wasn't toxic. It was just the fans. It was more pride than anything. Like the fact, I think the reason it was so good was because, well, not good, but the reason it was so electric in terms of the away atmosphere was because Vialli had passed away. So, we're going to win this game for Vialli. And, once we went 2-3-0 down or whatever, even before then, the whole game, we just wouldn't stop. And we were cheering on the team. And yes, people were chanting Roman Abramovich. But, I'm not even against that, because it doesn't even have to be a case of, anything against Bowley. Why not just support Abramovich? We love Abramovich. I actually have nothing against that. And I would keep that. Irrespective of how Bowley does, because Abramovich has been fantastic for our club. We chant about John Terry, we chant about all these other people. Why should Abramovich not get a chant? So I actually have nothing against that. But yeah, Southampton was different because, well, it was a home game, obviously, but also, we just saw nothing against Southampton.
I think that for me, sorry, mate, it was a quick say. For me, that marks the first time that, like, a large percentage of match-going fans kind of turned against what's happening. That was I think that for me was the first time. Yeah, there's been like a few smutterings of boos here and there. This was quite vocal boos from the vast majority at halftime and at full time. But that's the first time it's kind of like, if lost the stadiums, even a phrase. I'm just going to invent it now. But like, that was the kind of for me, it felt like the first time the stadium's kind of turned on him.
I think what could help Potter is if I know it might not be his coaching style, but if he just showed a bit more passion on the field, coaching. Like if you watch, I think we got so used to Tuchel being so passionate and just like fighting for the team, and now we've obviously got Potter. I know it's a different coaching style, but I think what could help Potter if he just shows a bit more passion. But what I would say is, though, like, would people change their opinions, though, if he was more passionate, but we were still losing? Are people picking up? This is what I'm saying. So, like, this is what I mean. People were picking up, for me, I'm not saying you guys, but like, for me, people are picking up on the lack of passion because they look at it as maybe another reason as to why we're losing. All the things that are being pointed out and people picking faults in Potter are because we're not winning. Like, if people wouldn't be, if we were winning and doing well, no one says anything about how quote unquote boring he is. No one goes on about a lack of passion. No one goes on about anything. So, like, for me, the easiest way to put a stop to all this, all right, you'll get some people that will still not like him, even if he does well, because they've just been a kind of never liked him at all. But if you win, and it shows how kind of fickle and shallow football fans can be, that if you're winning, 1 minute people are sending death threats, the next minute they're chanting your name. It's mad. Like,
yeah.
I mean, look, that's the easiest way to turn it around. Is just by winning. And like, for me, I don't care how boring you are, how much passion or no passion you've got. Just win football matches for Chelsea, and you'll be all right.
Potter knows that. He said that himself. He said nobody cares what I say. I've got to win some football matches. I'm not here to convince anyone. Yeah. And this is why more reason why I respect the guy. He knows he's not stupid, and he said it himself. He's like, people don't think I'm passionate. I mean, it's just crazy. And
there's different ways of expressing that, I think, as well.
Well, I mean, they say fight, flight, or freeze, or whatever you call it, in certain situations. I don't know do you know what I'm talking? Do you know what I'm talking about, Charlie? Do you know? I think I think so,
wrong, mate. Well,
something like that. But anyway, it's kind of along the right lines. You know, you've got some people that react with passion and fire. You've got some people who are a bit of both. And then you got the other side of the spectrum, and that's Potter. And in a way, you could actually say that it's a really good way to be, because, you know, he's calm and composed, and he doesn't make himself look like an imbecile or like a clown on the touchline.
Yeah.
You know, he's always the same, win or lose. You know, he's obviously a deep thinker, and I think he just wants to communicate his message in the dressing room. I mean, there's only so much you can do on the sideline, you know, and people, you know, people still get told what to do, just not necessarily through Graham Potter himself. You know, we've got a set piece coach who's constantly up on his feet explaining things to the players. We've got the assistant gaffer as well, you know, who barks instructions. It's just a different way of running things. And yeah, I mean, he's only been here, what, 6-7 months? So
less than that, mate. It's been about 5 months. He only came in September.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
5 months, yeah.
Crazy.
But,
so I mean, he hasn't really had the time to properly implement. I mean, and you say 5 months, only 2 months with the new squad.
Was gone, and months of that was gone for the World Cup anyway. So I guess you could really say actually he's only been here 4 months. But let's kind of move it on to tomorrow's game. 2023 has not been a great year for us so far. It's 1 win in 10. 1 win in 10. We've scored 4 goals this year. West Ham have scored the same amount of goals as us in 1 match as we have in our entire season. Entire calendar year. So that's going well. Lukaku has scored more goals than we've scored in February, and things aren't too good at the top end of the pitch. But that's what we're gonna kind of take this now. I mean, Brendan, for you, mate, obviously we're creating more chances. Goal scoring is not a Graham Potter issue. It is right now because he's a manager, but it's been a Thomas Tuchel issue. It's been a Lampard issue. It's been an issue for multiple managers. We're creating more chances. We're still not putting the ball in the net. Why do you think we still can't score any goals, no matter how many chances we seem to create? Because this is the one thing that is holding us back at the moment. Because defensively, we're pretty good. We've got the joint second best defense in the league, along with Arsenal, just behind Newcastle. Midfield, all right, it's serviceable. We can get by with that now. We've added Enzo. We need, obviously, more reinforcements there in the summer. But we've created more chances recently, and we still can't score. And it's not like these aren't half chances; these are decent chances, and they should be being taken with the quality of player we've got. So, mate, what do you put it down to? Because I don't really think anyone knows the answer as to why we're not scoring any goals. It's not like we're not creating any chances, because we are.
Yeah. I just think we like you said, we're creating pretty good chances, but I just think most of the players lack confidence, and when they do get that chance, there's so much pressure on them to score because we're not scoring. It just makes it even harder to score. So one thing I would say for tomorrow is hopefully Fofana gets a start and he keeps him on the pitch for 90 minutes, because that's one thing I didn't understand for Southampton. Fofana was our best player in the first half and he took him off.
Don't understand. Take him off for again?
Sterling?
Sterling.
Yeah, it was Sterling, because Sterling and other Fofana come on at half time, and then he played Mount at centre forward for a bit, which is a bit random. Don't really know why that happened. But Alex, for you, mate, why do you think we're not scoring any goals? Because previously the problem was we weren't even creating any chances to score any goals. Now we're creating a few more chances, which is an improvement, but we still can't put the ball in the net. I mean, I get Brendan's point. Confidence is a massive thing, because when your confidence is on the floor, because we're doing so badly, you're going to feel a lot more pressure. You're going to snatch at your chances, whereas you wouldn't do that when you're confident. You take things on more. You take things on more when you're confident. You express yourself a bit more when you're confident. When you're not, you retreat a little bit. You tense up. Things don't go as well. Do you think it is literally just a confidence thing, or do you think it's more than that? Because this is a problem for years.
Yeah, I think we need some luck, honestly. And I think Potter's right when he said that as well. We do need a bit of luck. I mean, we hit the post.
The handball at West Ham, the save from
handball at West Ham. I mean, that was a win. You know, we talk about this bad run. That was a win. And that was stolen from us. So, yeah, actually, that can be used in Graham Potter's defence, and I will use that. And on top of that, with Southampton, I mean, the goal line clearance from Sterling was superb. Other teams have just leveled up at times, and yeah, whenever we seem to play teams, I think there'll be an almighty cliff and we'll smash someone's
I
spoons.
think we are. That is,
I
I think
like
we are.
that.
I think we're due to give someone a good smashing in a footballing sense. Just to clarify, I think we are. I mean, I think just one game we're just going to turn up and we're just going to win 5-0 against someone, and like hopefully tomorrow.
Let's hope it's Tottenham,
hopefully it's tomorrow and not during pre-season.
Yeah. But yeah, you put it down to a bit of, I think all teams need a bit of luck. But do you think?
Yeah, a bit of luck.
The thing is, right. The way I look at it is, people say, oh, you need a number 9. You need a number 9. Look at City. Okay, they've been playing without a number 9 for the last couple of seasons, and they've been winning the league. They've got Haaland now. I know he's scoring loads of goals, but the team doesn't look as fluid as when they didn't have a stand-up number 9. So if we had a number 9 or no number 9, we should still be scoring goals.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to be scoring as few goals as we are. I mean, we've scored the same amount of goals as we've conceded. That's ridiculous, whatever way you look at it. And yes, we're struggling, confidence is low and whatnot, but with the quality of players we've got on the pitch, there's no excuse for us to be scoring as few goals as we are. But let's move it on to tomorrow. I'm going to get the team up. We'll have a little discussion through it. I've seen some people, and even myself, I've slightly bought into the idea, although I'm not fully sold. Some people calling for a return to the back 3. Now, I've got this set up as a 4-2-3-1 just because I think that's what we're going to go with anyway. But I'll come to you first, Brendan. Do you think there's any credibility perhaps to switching to a 3? Because the way I see it is like when we've played with a 3 under Potter, I know long term they want to go with a 4, of course, but with the 3, I think we've actually played our best football under Potter in a 3. Wolves at home, the Milan game, and the Salzburg game away. I also think it gets more out of the fullbacks as well. Chilwell and James are much more effective when they're further up the pitch. But it just begs the question of what do you do with João Felix then? Because he's been operating really well in that what you would call a 10 position. So you'd have to play him either as an out and out. You'd have to play him as the number 9, or you'd have to play him off the right-hand side. I mean, do you think there's any credence to going to reverting back to a 3 tomorrow, or you just think, yeah, whatever, we just got to stick with this 4 and push through?
I think we've just got to stick with the 4 and try to push through.
Yeah, yeah, simple as that. Alex, anything to add, mate? Do you think a 3 is worth switching back to the 3?
This is the thing that you don't want to sacrifice, like you said. Players like Felix who've been playing well. If it's a long-term plan that we've got to build for the long term, and if we want to play with a 4 for years to come, hopefully with Potter, fingers crossed, then you got to stick to it. But having said that, I mean, it's such a big game. I don't care how we win it. Just
I don't
whatever.
care.
I'll play 7 at the back. Do you know what I mean? I'll do anything. So, but it would make sense really for either formation.
But I mean, I look at it and I think like the back three gives you obviously more defensive stability. We don't necessarily need more defensive stability, but the plus for me to the back 3 is that we get a lot more out of James and Chilwell compared to the 4. But then you also don't get João Felix in his best position. So is that trade-off worth it? It's a tricky one, but we'll stick with the 4 for the sake of this. Let me just get to a few things in the chat quickly. No back 3. We criticise for not attacking and not creating chances. Just please stop wing back nonsense. No, we're not gonna. No, I wasn't gonna. I wasn't gonna suggest Felix, Mudryk, or Sterling at wing back. That's not happening at all. Yeah, they do give us more. There's no doubt that they're better in a 3, but is the team better in a 3? I'm not so sure. But boys, let's get into the team. Guys in the chat, feel free to chip in. Brendan is obviously going to be Kepa. How impressed have you been with him, by the way? Because there was a time when he was a laughing stock at Chelsea, People mocks the money we paid for him, the long-term contract. He's got the highest save percentage in the Premier League this season, I believe. It's been quite some turnaround, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think Kepa's been one of our best players this season. And people who, when Kepa came back, and obviously most of the fans were like, no, we want Mendy, we don't want to give Kepa a chance. And look, and see, this is a prime example, okay? Potter obviously backed Kepa, and he got confidence from that. And look, now he's one of the best keepers in the Premier League. So it could just be with our strikers, like maybe 1 or 2 goals tomorrow can just kick that confidence in, and we can start winning some games.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, Alex, Mendy, who? What's happened to him? Like, he's obviously still injured. I think he had surgery on a broken finger, but there's not really been anything on him at all. I mean,
yeah,
it's
but it's
been
not his
quite
fingers
some...
that are the problem. It's his
His
feet.
hands, isn't it? Oh, well, his feet, yeah.
It's the distribution, mate. It's distribution. Like, I mean, we were there at Leeds, and
oh, mate, he was shambolic there.
And it's been like that every game he plays. Like, I mean, mate, you can't rely on him. It's not even a criticism of his goalkeeping ability. He's actually a very good keeper, but you cannot play for Potter if you can't play out the back at this rate. Mendes, you might as well go to Everton, play a bit of Sean Dyche hoofball, because that's all he's good for with his feet. So, yeah, no disrespect to him, but not he doesn't have the qualities that we need to play the way we want to play.
No, I would agree. I think we're all going to agree that Thiago Silva is obviously going to play, having been rested last week. Yeah. But we'd expect it to be Badiashile. I'm sure we probably all agree on that, but I will ask you boys anyway. But is there any chance that after his decent second half performance against Southampton, is there a shout for Wesley Fofana to be in the lineup tomorrow? I mean, personally, for me, not, because Badiashile has done nothing wrong and then nothing warrant for being dropped. But I think Fofana is obviously showed his quality, and he will get back in the team at some point. But until Badiashile or Silva play badly enough to warrant being dropped out of the team, you can't really make a case for Fofana, despite how good he was. So, Brendan, still Badiashile for you?
I do like Baddy a lot, especially when he's playing with Thiago Silva. But obviously against Southampton, I just feel he lacked a bit of confidence and that experience. And that's where I think Thiago Silva was so good next to him, always telling him what to do, helping him. And I think we should try give Wesley Fofana a chance tomorrow.
What, from the start or bench?
It's from the start.
From the start, you think Fofana from the start, right, Alex? You got
from the start.
You've got the deciding vote on this one, mate.
Look at this! I've got the power.
You got the power, mate. What are you saying? Obviously, Fofana was a positive for sure against Southampton, but obviously, it's like what do you think? Because Badiashile has been immense since he's come in. Obviously, as Brendan said, he didn't look as comfortable without Silva alongside him. But Silva is going to play tomorrow. I mean, is there any need to break this partnership up? What are your thoughts?
Well, that's the thing. If it wasn't with Silva, I kind of get it. And because Badiashile wasn't great against Southampton. I mean, we almost conceded a goal when he gave the ball away. But no, I would keep him in for this one, because even in the games he has played, he's been pretty much not perfect, but as close to perfect as you can get. From a clean sheet point of view, and I think that partnership's blossoming very well. I don't see why we should break them up.
And when we're 3 or 4 up tomorrow, which obviously we will be, we can bring Fofana on and give him some minutes.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's much of a discussion to be had around the right back situation. It's going to be Reece James. We don't really need to say anything there. Brendan, for you, left back situation, we kind of got 3 choices here, really. Although it's probably obvious who it's going to be. I mean, we've got Lewis Hall that can play there, Cucurella, who's obviously well documented the struggles that he's had, and then we've got Chilwell as well. I mean, for me, it's Chile, because I think he's our best left back. But again, his minutes are being managed. He's coming back from a couple of long-term injuries. He needs to build his fitness up and whatnot. But is he the guy for you, or could you see Cucurella or Hall, or would you like to see Cucurella or Hall instead?
Well, I look at it this way. If they are still managing his minutes, I look at it. I think the Dortmund game is more important. So maybe start Cucurella and then bring him on, give him some minutes, and then make sure he's ready for Dortmund. Because I just think the Dortmund game is a lot bigger than tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
So
I can see that. I mean, the fact that we're only playing once a week it gives us ample time to obviously recover. Alex, what are your thoughts on the left back situation? Because it's one area on the pitch where obviously for a lot of people it's a no-brainer and it's Chilwell, but there is competition for places there.
I think that's an interesting point. I would debate between Chilwell and Lewis Hall. I mean,
Cucurella's not in the conversation for you.
I mean, if I'm Paul, I need to win this game. I need to win, and I'm thinking like any weaknesses, I don't want to have that. And I just think Cucurella is a target.
It's going to be Son or Kulusevski, isn't it? One of those two up again. Yeah,
he doesn't stand a chance. Not against them. You know, all respect to the man. He's got a great haircut, but yeah, that's not going to cut it. Pun wasn't intended, but yeah, I think Lewis Hall's
I just clocked onto that.
Yeah. Oh mate, I'll have to hold on to that. We'll clip that. But yeah, no.
So we're going. I think Chile. I think Chile gives us the best chance to win this game, and that's what we've got to do.
I think Chile gives us the best chance, but I haven't got anything against Lewis Hall as well because he's played bloody well in the big games.
He's found himself out the team. He's found himself out the team quite a lot recently as well.
Yeah, but I think that's just due to lack of experience, and also you don't want to end up doing like a Ruben Loftus-Cheek or Hudson-Odoi, you know, getting too many minutes and then getting an injury or something like that.
I see a lot of guys mentioning back three tomorrow. If we did have a back three, who's starting?
Well, you just bring Fofana in. I think it's the same thing. You bring Fofana into that centre back three, and then I think you keep the wing backs the same.
Okay.
So for me, it would just be Fofana coming into that back. I mean, Alex, if it was a three, you just bring Fofana into that back three and
Koulibaly's not touching that. Koulibaly's not getting there.
I think to be honest, on Fofana as well, I think the aim should be to try and get him ready to start a game by the time we get to Dortmund, because obviously there's no Badiashile in the squad for the Champions League. So if we can get Fofana to a point where he can start against Dortmund, then he is a better defender than Koulibaly for me.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was saying for Fofana. Give him the minutes, get him ready for Dortmund, obviously, because we don't have Badi in the Champions.
No, this is a fair point. I mean, this is where it becomes irritating that we're not in the cups anymore, because we can't obviously can't really give him minutes in cup games. By the way, slight tangent. How mad is it that this time last year, Alex, we were getting ready for Carabao Cup final, and now we're
oh god,
and now we're desperate. Now we're 1 win in 10 this year.
Oh mate, do you know what's mad as well, Charlie? Is I have tickets for the Carabao Cup final and I can't go because I got to do fan cam. Oh mate,
you don't want to go and watch Newcastle against Man United. It'd just be depressing.
I would love to. I want to watch some decent football, mate. We haven't seen it all season, you know. But
this is fair. Let's move into midfield. Yeah. We know Enzo's going to play.
Yeah,
but the other position alongside him is kind of it's up for grabs. We've seen Ruben play a couple games there against West Ham and Dortmund in the Champions League. We saw Cover come in against Southampton. He wasn't good. Zakaria is fit again, but I'm surprised that he didn't come off the bench against Southampton. What are we going here with, boys? Alex, I'll come to you first this time, mate. What are we thinking? Because Cover was poor. Ruben was decent in the games that he played, but then he was out the squad for Southampton. And Zakaria, we don't know how fit he is. What are your thoughts? Who would you start tomorrow in that midfield?
I think there's only one choice. I think that's Ruben Loftus-Cheek. The only reason I say that is because, I mean, if Zakaria was fully fit, I'd probably maybe even give him the edge because he's played very, very well, and I think he is a Potter type player. I think that there's a lot of characteristic he has that just seems to suit the way Potter likes to play, and Potter gives him that confidence to express himself that you wouldn't have had at Juventus with Allegri. Kovacic just hasn't been good enough, and I don't think he is a Potter type player. And I
think we
think I
should.
do believe,
I think we should sell him.
yeah,
No, that
I
is
agree.
very
Straight up.
sad. That is very sad that he's not
It is
a
sad.
Potter player.
It is sad.
Because I think he's one of our best players.
He is.
Personally.
He is. He was under Tuchel, but we played a different way, and we were so compact in the midfield.
He's out of contract in 24, so
yeah,
like
they'll definitely sell him.
I think we'll sell him in the summer. But so you're saying Ruben, yeah?
Yeah.
Brendan, what are your thoughts to partner Enzo in that pivot tomorrow?
I personally, if Zakaria, if he's fit, I want him in there.
Yeah. I do as well. I mean, let's just presume he's fit, and I'm going to go with that. What I'll do is I'll slash in Ruben as well, because this is on the premise that Zakaria is actually fit to start, which I don't think he. I like if we're going with what Potter's going to do. I actually think Ruben starts tomorrow.
Yeah, but no, I mean Zakaria's been good, and the comments are all over Zakaria as well.
Mate, the chat are loving Zakaria, mate. They're all over him. That mate, DZ20. That's what we want. Let's move into the front line. Another point I was going to make before, while we were talking about the front line, but I forgot to make it. How important do you think, or how big a contributing factor do you think to the lack of goals has been the lack of continuity in the front line in terms of the players and the positions constantly changing from game to game? Do you think, I mean, Brendan, do you think that's potentially a contributing factor, the fact that we never seem to have the same front line for 2-3 games on the spin? It's always changing. That can't be that helpful either.
No, I don't think so, because obviously, like I mentioned earlier, Kepa, he's getting game time. Obviously, Potter believes in him, and he's growing in confidence, and that's what you need with your strikers. If you know you're going to be starting, but then again, you do need to deserve to start. You need to work hard, and I just feel like, obviously, I would like to see Fofana starting tomorrow, but again, has that dented his confidence by Potter taking him off the 45 minutes last week?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one to tell. It depends what the reasonings were for it. But yeah, it's never going to feel great being subbed at halftime. Alex, do you think lack of continuity is a contributing factor, or are we kind of scraping the barrel of excuses here?
I think the reason that we change every week is because it's not good enough, and that's what Tuchel did, and Potter's doing exactly the same thing. But Potter actually has good reason to do it now because he's got so many new players.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think that's the reason we're not scoring. I think the reason that we're rotating is because we're not scoring. And Potter's trying to find solutions. He's trying to find players that can score and can produce in whatever position. Also, you've got to remember players like Sterling are coming back who weren't fit. Madueke, is he going to start? Is Ziyech going to start? Ziyech would have never been in the conversation under Tuchel. So,
no.
Actually, in a way, Potter has lifted other players in terms of game time. He's given everyone equal opportunities. I'd say probably Aubameyang's the only one who's been frozen out. But yeah, no, I've got no issues with the way he's managing the squad. I think if this was a conversation we were going to have in 10, 15 games time, it would be different. But for now, I can completely understand why he's rotating.
Let's go over this front line then. Brendan, for you, right hand side. I mean, obviously Ziyech is an option there, but I think it's going to be between Sterling or Madueke. Madueke started the last couple of games in terms of Premier League ones. Sterling first chunk of minutes since his injury against Southampton in that second half. Do you think that performance for you in the second half from him was enough to get him the nod over Madueke in this game?
It's a tough one. I would actually give Sterling a start tomorrow at right wing, just for experience. Like, it's a big game. He's going to be experienced. We don't know Madueke, how he handles pressure. We haven't seen him.
He was in the Spurs academy. I think he came through the Spurs academy. Pretty sure he did before he went to PSV. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, mate, carry on.
But I would definitely not. I don't know. I don't even know why Ziyech is still playing for us. Like, he clearly doesn't want to be here. Why
He
is
doesn't
he
want to be
playing?
here. Yeah, I think he just got a sympathy start against Fulham as an apology for fucking up the paperwork.
Yeah, and then this again. If you look at Ten Hag, if you don't want to be there, you don't even make the
Yeah.
bench.
No,
And this is where I think Potter gets it wrong a bit. Is players like Ziyech. If you don't want to be here, then
mate,
don't
not
play
playing.
him.
Yeah,
What? Why is he not playing Aubameyang? I don't get that. I don't understand that.
mate,
If
not
Aubameyang,
yeah. I don't know, not part of the plans, I
Yeah.
suppose. And I
but
like,
you say that, but then Ziyech was literally off on loan a couple of weeks ago, and
yeah, no, I
he's
get
in the
no.
starting lineup.
I hear what you're saying. Like, for me, like the Aubameyang thing's weird because what Potter says and what's happening don't match up. I'm not saying Aubameyang should be starting every week. He absolutely
Yeah.
shouldn't because he's not been good enough. But he should be in the squad on the bench as an option to throw on with 15, 20 minutes to go if we're desperate for a goal, which we no doubt probably will be. Like, there's no reason for him not to be in the squad. Like Potter's said constantly in the press that, oh, he's trained really well. He's not making a fuss around the place or anything like that. But yet he kept getting overlooked for the squad.
There's definitely
Something's not adding up. But
Yeah.
Alex, so Brendan, you're going to go Sterling on that right hand side. Alex, you agreeing? Sterling, right hand side or
Yeah.
Madueke?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We said we want experience, and I actually think he had a great impact against Southampton.
He did, yeah.
Even though he didn't score, he was very close to scoring. And coming back from injury, he's got a point to prove because there is a real competition for those starting spots with all those new signings. So he needs to score some goals, man, because Sterling's not a player who offers much else, if we're being brutally honest.
He's been really poor this season for us, really poor.
He's been terrible, absolutely terrible. So, yeah, it'd be nice for him to kickstart his season properly under Graham Potter. I mean, and what a game to show,
it's such
the
a
manager
big game.
Can back it. I mean,
I don't think people realise how big this game is. Like, Spurs is massive anyway. In these circumstances, this is the biggest game of our season. No 100%, exaggeration.
100%. But then Dortmund would be the biggest after. It's like
no, it will. But like
it's all coming at once, isn't it?
This is such a big game, not just for Chelsea, but for Potter as well.
But the thing is, right? People say, "Oh, we always turn up for Spurs," but if you're looking at that starting lineup there, most of those players won't have experienced the Spurs as like this. This is where I would honestly like try start Mount, try get him into the team because I know he'll be up for it. If you play Mudryk, is he going to be as up for it as Mount would be?
I get what you're saying.
Are we talking about on the left wing or as a 10?
No, just like trying to get the players in who would be the most up for playing in Spurs.
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like in derbies, there's a certain credence for in terms of to get players into the team that know what the rivalry's about, like getting like local lads in or people that have been here a long time. Because you look at the team we're going to put out tomorrow, and I'm not saying Mount should start, but I get what you're saying in terms you look at it and you think, right, who's got experience of playing against Tottenham? James, Silva, Chilwell, Kepa all do. If Ruben starts, he does, but Enzo and Zakaria have got nothing. Sterling's got experience of playing against Spurs, but not in a Chelsea. He's played once actually at the start of the season, but like there's not. I do get what you're saying, but yeah, for me, I think there's a chance that Mount starts in Potter's book, but I can't personally pick him because he doesn't warrant a space in the lineup for his performances on the pitch. But
definitely.
let's move to that number 10. Alex, João Felix, no brainer.
Yeah, he's had chances, man. He just needs.
This is the one thing he needs to convert them,
and I think he will. And I think if there's a team that's going to hand it to on a plate, you've come to the right place, my friend. Tottenham Hotspur. It's going to happen again.
Now I want to see that celebration again. What is it? He does like that or something, little gun thing.
I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, man.
Well, I want to see that, mate. One of those in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Just that.
I don't want to see one of them. I want to see 3 of them.
Yeah. Man, I'll take one right now.
Yeah, I'll take what I can get. But
no,
left hand. He's been. Sorry, mate.
No, go on, Craig. I was going to move on to the left-hand side. But carry on about Felix.
No, I was just going to say he's been fantastic, except
Yeah.
for the fact that he's just not scoring. I mean, in Dortmund, we talk about it was poor finishing. Hitting the post is basically on target. This is the thing; it is pretty much on target.
It is on target. It doesn't count as on target, but it is on target. Yeah,
isn't it? It's
yeah.
so tough. But yeah,
left-hand side, boys. Obviously, there's still no Pulisic, although he's back in full training. He's not going to be in. He won't. I doubt he makes the squad tomorrow. I mean, you could play Mount now. I think we discussed that Mount doesn't deserve to be in the team. So, I mean, Mudryk. I mean, Brendan, what have you made of Mudryk since he's come in? Because obviously that cameo at Anfield was amazing. It was electric, and then in the subsequent games, it's been pretty poor. But he's still a young kid. These are his first minutes, first few games, having not played since November. He's come to a new country. His homeland's been at war. These are not easy things to adapt to. And those kind of things are going to affect your performances on the pitch, I'd imagine, to some degree. But we do need to see more from him. But what were your initial thoughts of him, Ben?
No, I think that game against Liverpool, he showed some glimpses of what he can do. But then again, he was paired up with Cucurella, and they did not seem like a solid partnership. Well, not even a solid. Like there was no chemistry between them two. And again, I just think it comes down to confidence. Like he wasn't getting fed any balls by Cucurella, so yeah, just confidence down. And then against the Fulham game, he was sick, so he's just recovering again. But I would like to see him start tomorrow, but I think tomorrow's going to be a tough game down that right wing, so he's going to have to do a lot of defending. Yeah. And is he that type of player who's going to track back every single time?
Probably not. He probably isn't, but at least
he's
Chilwell
not required to, though, is he? I don't think he's required to. I don't think Potter asks that of his players.
But unless you get if Mudryk's up here, say he's moved forward, and there's an attack coming, I suppose you would get Enzo, whoever's on this side, would then kind of step across there, and then maybe Felix drops in a little bit like that to defend. I don't really know, but I mean, Alex, for you, is Mudryk on the left hand side, or do you go? Or I suppose another option could be you play Sterling on the left, you don't play Mudryk at all, and you play Madueke on the right hand side. But I mean, for you, do you think Mudryk deserves another start?
Yeah, no, I think he deserves it, and I think his performance will be obviously based on the pairing. Obviously, if he's with Cucurella, it could be completely different to Chilwell. But also the way Spurs approach the game. I mean, we know Conte can play really defensive at times, but Spurs can press. You know, they do decide to press.
They've got a dangerous front line.
Yeah. But if they have that space, that's where the pace is going to come in, and nobody is faster than Mudryk. This is a fact. We all know it. And
apart from that Adeyemi at Dortmund.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we don't have to deal with him.
No.
But no, I think the pace is going to be a big factor in this game, especially if Spurs actually go out looking to win. If they're going into this game, you know, sitting back, defending, I actually think we'd struggle. But if they go out trying to play their game, pressing from the front line and creating chances throughout, that's when they're going to make mistakes, and we need to capitalize. Yeah. And Mudryk is the type of player, we saw it at West Ham. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still not the best performances, but on the counter, he's so direct, and I love it. I mean, get him involved in the play.
Mate, he's dangerous. Get him the ball more, and we'll I think we'll start to see it. I really do. So yeah, I think left-hand side, Mudryk. Right, guys, one more to round this one out then. The front man. I think all three of us, it's safe to say, aren't the biggest fans of Kai Havertz, to put it lightly. But
no.
But
I
tomorrow, what are we saying? Because if we're being realistic, we pretty much know that Graham Potter will start Kai Havertz tomorrow. But this is what we want to do. Brendan, for you, Datro Fofana to continue leading the line, or are you making a rogue shout for Aubameyang?
No. I would definitely go for Fofana up front. You have to.
Yeah, I think he deserves the minutes. I mean, Alex, Fofana for you as well. Do you think there's a chance that Potter probably. I mean, we know that Potter will probably start Havertz, but do you think if you start Fofana, is there a danger that the occasion's too much for him?
No, he came off he's come off the bench in games before and done well. He had a good 45 minutes against Southampton. Listen, as a football player, when you play well, you want progress, you want chances, because he's showing he can do it. The question is, can he do it at the highest level when the pressure's really on? And, Kai hasn't shown anything. What's Kai shown? I mean, he was a good impact off the bench, Kai.
He should probably stay on. He should probably stay on the bench then.
But this is the thing, though. I mean, if you keep him on the bench, you potentially have that impact sub again. And I'm not against that, because, he's not going to get top bins and, run past 2-3 players and score. But, he has got a certain energy to him. But, yeah, I think Fofana, I don't think the goal's going to come from up top. But, he still has the energy and the movement and the hold-up play, to get other players involved. So, I mean, we've got a very fluid front three. Front four if you include Felix as well. So, yeah, I think that's going to cause plenty of problems.
No, I would agree. I mean, the team looks pretty good to me. I mean, obviously, the game's not one on paper, but I'd like to think if that was put out tomorrow, that would give us a very good chance of winning. Only one thing left to do, lads. Score predictions for tomorrow. We're obviously 1 win in 10 in 2023. A second win would be more than ideal and much needed. Brendan, how are you feeling going into this one, mate? What are we thinking score-wise? Because obviously we always beat Tottenham, as we've said, but we can't see where a goal is coming from at the moment, let alone a win. But do you think tomorrow is where the losing streak stops?
Well, we haven't conceded a goal in the new stadium, so hopefully it stays that way tomorrow. But then again, when Baddy and Thiago play together, we've conceded 1 goal in 5 games. So I think it's going to be like a 1-0 Spurs. I don't want to say it, but I just think
we're going to lose again.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. You're meant to be positive on this stream, Brendan.
Well, I'm trying to be as positive as I can, but...
Alex, this way you're going to deliver a 5-0.
No, honestly, I think we'll win. I think
we'll win, yeah?
Honestly, Charlie, I've said to you so many times. Do you remember Crystal Palace, mate? Do you remember Crystal Palace? How negative I was.
Yeah, and then we won
1-0.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
No, we won 1-0. We won 1-0, and most of the time when I think we're going to lose, we actually do drop points. I don't know what it is, man. Speaking to Lewis, it's all like, I'm going to lose. And I believe it. And I think...
for sure.
But you know what, man? I believe that we've got... I believe Chelsea, we're going to come in... I know we're coming in numbers. The fans are going to be up for it. It's going to be a great atmosphere. And somehow...
We're going to get Tottenham get battered everywhere they go in the concourse.
Oh, mate, it's going to be beautiful. I swear
to be fair, I do think Felix is going to be up for it. Try and score. Because obviously Pedro Porro...
I don't think he'll even play, though.
Pedro Porro's been rubbish, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, I know he's been rubbish, but he stole.
Apparently, he stole Felix's girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh, mate!
I don't know how true that is, but apparently that has happened, mate.
It's happened with 3 different guys, apparently. So
fuck it out.
Come on, let's go.
So hopefully that fires up Felix and he gets us a hat trick tomorrow. So
yeah, man. I'm saying 2-1
Alex,
Chelsea.
You're going 2-1. Oh fuck! I mean, I'm normally quite positive. What I think's going to happen, what I want to say, and what is actually going to happen are kind of 2 different things.
Mate.
I honestly think this is probably going to be a draw. I think this will be a 1-1 or something like that. But
so typical, isn't it? Yeah.
But
no, fair enough.
I'm going to try and speak a win into existence. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win as well. I think we're gonna just.
Who's gonna score?
Well, I don't know. Just anyone will do. Let's go.
Badio Shield, mate, from a corner.
I'm gonna go Badio Shield from a corner. Mate, how good would it be if we win, by the way, and then Potter comes over and does like similar in front of the fans to what Lampard did that time?
Can you imagine him going out?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that would be unbelievable.
Mate, it would be so good if that does happen. I mean, it is make or break. I'm going to go 2-1 win. Goal scorers for me. let's go Felix and
Thiago Silva from a corner.
that would be nice. Or I'll go Felix and maybe I'll go Reece James. Bit rogue, but we'll go with that. But seems like a pretty good place to round out then, guys, for this one. Lads in the chat, thank you so much for getting involved. As always really appreciate it. Make sure you smash the likes on the stream on your way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Need to get to those 3K subscribers as quickly as possible. So every new subscriber helps. So if you're watching now and you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Click that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Lads, thank you so much for your time. Make sure you follow both my guests on Instagram, both linked in the description below. Alex, what's coming up on Chelsea Fan TV tomorrow, mate? Let the people know.
Well, I mean, it's either a very happy day or a sad day, so you'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see what the result is. We'll have a watch along. We'll have fan cams, match day vlog. And we'll also have a player ratings out as well. So it's a busy day.
Love it. I mean, what a service that's being provided to the people that can't go.
What can I say? Maybe we should start a Patreon, you know?
Maybe, mate. I mean,
monthly.
But yeah, make sure you head over to Chelsea Fan TV and subscribe to the channel there as well. You'll hear my thoughts after the game tomorrow, as well as Alex's and many others. Guys, from myself, make sure you check out the matchday vlog dropping on the channel after the game, and I'll be back tomorrow evening with a match reaction stream to the Spurs game as well. So yeah, guys, until then, take care and up the Chelsea.